Welcome to Kingdom Calls. This is our Senior Hurling Championship preview. The championship is starting on Friday night. It'll be over on August the 3rd. So a short period of time. And this year we have 9 teams, so 3 groups of 3. So we're going to be discussing the 3 groups, and then we're going to discuss who we think might get out of them. And briefly then we will look at the games over the weekend. We'll have that stuff covered anyway, and we'll give our predictions and the margin of victory or whatever. And we will keep a chart so that these 3 amigos with me, we will hold them to account. A lot of people have been inquiring about when we were coming back with this. The senior hurling one seems to really caught on. So we hope you enjoy it and you'll stick with us. And we will bring you right through the hurling championship. Now, to introduce my guests and so-called experts, it grieves me much, but I have to introduce the first guy as a kind of an expert. He has so many medals, he doesn't know what to do, including miraculous medals. That's James McCarthy. James hurled with Kilmiley for years. In fact, he's still hurling for Kilmiley. Well, he thinks he is in his head. He's now gone from a senior hurler of note, an intermediate hurler of not great note. He has no medals. And now he's down to the junior ranks. And I think he's gone to the Masters then, which is the over 50s. And we'll see how he gets on. He looks well. He's just back from a holiday with his family in Lanzarote, where he created absolute havoc. So it's great to have you back again.
Thank you, Murt.
Listen, we'll be very interested to find out your thoughts on Kilmiley, who you always seem to tell us the truth about and talk up. There's an honesty about you, despite that devilish, wild exterior. Now, to a man who's a bit more normal than James, that is John O'Dowd. And anybody who was watching the football pod will know and watching us last year. John is a regular. He will be commentating along with his sidekick from Abbeydorney, Aidan Leahy, on the Hurling Championship this year on Clubber. So he'll be in action on the first game on Friday night. He will keep talking and talking and talking, but he does know his stuff, and we'll be looking for his guidance on the championship as well. And I don't have to tell you, he's a journalist and commentator. I'm not too sure if he's a broadcaster yet. We'll hold in that one. John O'Dowd.
Give him time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Murt.
And the other thing that we forgot, he had his pot of tea and his cup earlier. He is a teaholic. Do you ever hear of a teaholic? He drinks tea 24 hours a day. Well, except the time that he sleeps. Next, sure, look who's back. The man himself. A banker every year for us on this pod is Aidan Leahy. County Championship winner this year with last year. And like he's really going to be intolerable now to listen to with all the disaster, with the misery that and that he is looking forward to how difficult it's going to be in the easiest group that they've been drawn in, which well, we can't say that, but allegedly
allegedly was fixed. Okay.
Allegedly fixed. Now the funny thing about he's been making the headlines. He is the most. He's had more. There was a guy talking earlier about me clicks on the football, but this guy has more clicks than ticks. He was actually the centre of attraction for the Kildare footballers. Actually, only that they're playing at the weekend, they told me. The hurlers, sorry, the Kildare hurlers, who won the Joe McDonagh. Congratulations to them. They would have come down here tonight, and the whole lot of them would have had a night out here and would have joined us on the pod, which would have been brilliant, with their favourite journalist, or an activist that they call him, that is Aidan Leahy. Aidan, of course, in case you missed the point of the story, or the bottom line, is that after Kerry beat them, he tweeted about the fact that usual moaning and groaning and crying by Kildare, and they're yet to win a game in the Joe McDonagh.
A factual statement for him.
It remains factual. But that actually drove them on so much, motivate them so much, that they went on and won the bloody thing. So, in fact, I should be inviting you to their annual social.
Exactly.
Because, you're a lucky charm. Your picture should be up in every dressing room up there in Kildare. And of course, he's a man as well who now can't go to Dublin through Kildare, and he can't go to Waterford either because he upset them last year down there. Bricky, was it, or whatever they were called? Bricky Rangers, and his co-commentary there was legendary, and the mothers are still on the border wondering, will this fella come through? Well, I can tell them tonight or whenever they're watching this, no, we're going to keep him here. We won't allow him outside of Kerry for now. Aidan, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Short and sweet,
I don't think
that won't be the end of it.
I don't think he's thankful either for being reminded about Kildare and Waterford. But anyway, he's loved here in Kerry by us. Now, lads, Group 1, the Garveys SuperValu. We must give Garveys SuperValu credit for sponsoring both the Senior Hurling Championship and the Senior Football Championship. And indeed, I would make the point, although I was born in a football community, as you know, a football stronghold, you know nothing about that. You played junior soccer and junior hurling now, so your days are gone as an athlete. But yeah, I would say that the senior, well, you never were.
Criminal,
You were what's called in the game a walloper. But the Senior Hurling Championship is one of the best competitions in Kerry. Really enjoy it, really look forward to it every year. And of course, my club, Aberdeen, won it last year, and that has really...
Two of you on the panel, two of you.
So there's two of us on the panel, because I am...
I thought your club was Crotter O'Neill's.
No,
that was 2024.
That was
2023 actually.
23. I'm the M&M of Pope's Cross. Now, the three teams in Group 1's, St. Brendan's, Crotter O'Neill's and Ballyduff.
Good.
Now, St. Brendan's have a lot of young players coming through. Crotter O'Neill's obviously were the champions in 2023, and Ballyduff were in the final last year, and Ballyduff are just one championship behind. It's a 26-25 with yourselves, I think it is, yeah. Now, St. Brendan's, Gavin Raggett is their team captain. The management, Pat O'Driscoll, is there this year, which should mean a lot of well organised, well motivated when you think of Pat. Stephen Power, Owen McCarthy and Declan Raggett are the management team. Now young Gavin Raggett is in. Owen O'Flaherty, he was a minor, very good player. Hugh Linehan is another serious player. And could be in the Kerry team. Yes, Cian McDonough, Liam Mead and Odin Ferris is back playing with them this year. He under 20 football now, etc. And he's in college. The players out, Kevin Oppin, who gave great service to the club. Porter Carney, he used to play at midfield. Graham Horn, he's probably gone somewhere, I'd say. Graham came from out.
Come back to Tip.
He might be come back to Tip. Graham was in with them. He came from Tip, and a very, very good operator. Play around midfield to forward and scored a lot of important points for them. And Trevor Wallace is apparently gone, and of course Finan Mackesy. Finan is a cat now. So he's up with Kilkenny and won a Leinster final medal, so well done to Finan. But he won't be hurling, obviously, with St. Brendan's this year. Now, prospects, what do you think of St. Brendan's? A lot of people that I spoke to 9 clubs, and let me make it clear, this seems a contradictory statement, but it is a fact. I ring up the clubs every year, the 9 clubs, representatives of the clubs.
Do they answer you?
No, they do, but they lie to me. Right?
I would too.
But I know they're lying to me. That's the second part of it. And the third part of it, they know that I know they're lying to me. So it's
what kind of conversation is that? It's a great conversation.
So it's a great conversation, and it's a bit of a game because they all want to take each other down. But a lot of people were saying that if there was to be a dark horse in the championship this year, it could be St. Brendan's. What do you think? They won a lot of minors and under 20s.
They have. I think with that, though, you can't, I know, I talk to a Man United fan here, you can't have too many young lads coming together. I know United did it with all their young gang. You can't have too many lads coming together. But look at the fellas have Hugh Linehan, I think, and Owen Flaherty are serious players.
Yeah.
And Liam Moog said they were three probably the better lads on the Kerry 20s this year. They were very, very good.
Yeah.
Can they translate that into a senior championship, which is different kettle of fish altogether?
Were you involved with the 20s this year?
No, I was at the minors this year. I was at the 20s last year. They got rid of me.
Yeah,
they were lucky. They won their first game. They were lucky. They're very lucky against Kildare, in fairness.
I know.
The day above, I thought
they were a disaster, and it was because you were involved with them. But go on anyway.
I thought they were hard done by above that day. But no, they have St. Brendan's has good players. They've They're beating.
Dahi Griffin, Eric Leahy.
They had 3 teams. They had 3 teams the last couple of years. There's a lot of talent there. Can they get the best team on the field is the problem. Can they get the best 50?
Do you think Darren Dineen and John Egan will go another year?
Have to. They were the 2 best players last year. They were the 2 best players last year. So I don't see
how many years older are you than them?
17, 18. No. I know, maybe 5, 2 years.
30s.
Probably.
Are you 50?
I'm 50. Probably 12 years older. Maybe 12, 13 years older. I am really. No, well, they'd be. I suppose Daz is 35, 36. John would be the same, around that age. Like, but they were seriously good last year.
Finan is a seriously good hurler.
Good athlete, good warrior. No, in fairness to him now, he needs time. He's still young. He's still light. He's light. Like if John was always kind of a stockier lad.
Yeah.
So and then as you say, like he was main St. Brendan's forward for many years. Yeah. So Finan now might have to take on that mantle, but maybe not as much responsibility. You still have Leahy Moog, they'll come along there. You have Seamus Holland.
Both of them can take frees,
forwards.
Yeah, they're nice forwards. As well as,
they have a nice mix, mate. Murt, they have a good mix. Is it too early for them? I think it is.
Right, John, do you think it's too early? Now you have to be careful because you're a good friend of Clive O'Callaghan and Clive O'Callaghan has most of North Kerry in his football team in Ardfert, when you think of it. He is Kilmyle, he is Causeway, not Kerry Gales.
As regards being one of the dark horses for the competition, they definitely are. The group is really tricky though, with Crotta and with Ballyduff. Like if they were in a different group, I would say that they would...
This group.
Yeah, Abidorni's
an easy group.
I would say they would definitely have a chance of getting through it. This is going to be difficult, but at the same time, I don't think you can underestimate the Pat O'Driscoll factor as well. He's just every team he gets involved with, he seems to get the best out of the resources at his disposal. And as James says, there's such an underage conveyor belt of talent coming through the ranks in Ardfert with the leaders that are still there that we mentioned already in the likes of Eric Leahy and Dahi Griffin and so forth.
Dan Delaney,
Nathan O'Driscoll can get scores. You know, there's a lot of really good players there. I think a lot will depend on Sunday, the first match against Crotta. Like, I don't think it's beyond the bounds of possibility that St. Brendan's could win that match. Now, I'd probably still have a small fancy for Crotta just to get over the line, but at the same time, I don't think it would be a big shock, would it, James?
No, definitely
if St. Brendan's turned them over. They are going to make progress. They are going to be a serious team in this competition over the next 5 years. As James says, it might not be this year, but I wouldn't be shocked if they took a big scalp of one of the 2 teams that they're up against.
Aidan, I know you hate Causeway more than you hate anybody else. I think you taught us last year. Well, hate is a strong word. You dislike. Dislike. It's like you're Ballyhigh, James. You hate Ballyhigh, you taught us last year.
I don't hate anyone else.
No, you said off the record. But, sorry. It meant to stay off the record. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Aidan, what you reading of it? I think you're another man that has great respect for Ardfert.
Well, I actually thought, to be fair, last year the management team they had got as much as they could out of them as well. Like, I mean, they were very young. I know the game out in Abidorn against Causeway is probably the one where they look back on. But in fairness, they got to the quarter-final and pushed Abidorn all the way. Yeah. But the post could have changed that game, you know.
Injured
Darren shot, Darren Delaney going off injured. The thing is, it is a big wave, another big wave of young guys coming through. Like, you know, you Leahy Moog and Finan last year in their first year. They have a lot of growing up to do very quickly because all of a sudden they're almost senior players, like, you know. Yeah. Young Lenihan is a great prospect. He was brilliant in the under-21 county final last year. Like, that's I suppose, when you look at that under-21 team, and it was probably Shawnee Brosnan's best performance I've seen him give in an Ardfert jersey. He has to bring that now to a senior level as well, which
top
is
class.
You know,
a
brilliant hurler, yeah. But there's pressure on him now to deliver that performance there. He's a massive player for them, a real talisman for them. That's probably taken over John Egan's sort of role in that forward line. If that's where he plays, he can play. He can drop back and be a +1 if they need him. But I think if I was there, I'd be trying to get Sean to be playing centre forward role and trying to get as much through him as possible, because he's a real talent. And the likes of Leahy Moog and stuff, I think we saw last year what Leahy Moog can do at a senior level as well. I think like someone has to be the dark horse, you know. Ballyhigh can't be the dark horses anymore because they've shown their hand, if that makes sense. You know, they were semi-finalists last year, so county league finalists this year. Ardfert would be the outsider that you'd give a chance. And there is 6 other teams hoping that they do cause an upset and that they do take out one of Ballyduff and Cratchit. That's what everyone outside.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, actually, you forgot in my introduction. I forgot to add another string to your bow. You're now the coach manager of the Aberdeen ladies football team. So congratulations on that, because you had no future in hurling. Now, when you look at Crata O'Neill's now, and we'll skip through them a little bit quicker. When you look at Crata O'Neill's, James, the captain is Beans, as we call him, Sean Weir, joint captain with Shane Nolan. Management is the same: Brendan Manny, Jerome O'Sullivan, Johnny Horgan. Now out, and this is with his ankle break, fracture, forever, Adam O'Sullivan, their keeper. I think that's huge. Gavin Parker has an ankle injury, he'll be out for a while. Jake McKenna is out with a hamstring. Shawnee Mack is out, I think, to start with anyway. And Killian Trent is probably involved with the footballers. He's in with Kerry, so I don't think he'll be allowed playing this one, particularly with the injury crisis we were discussing earlier. The in is big. Barry Manny is huge. They hadn't him last year. And Evan O'Sullivan is in. He was he a minor?
He was just out of minors.
Just out of minors,
yeah.
And he's a good young fella as well. And of course, hopefully Jordan Conway will be back from London. He's studying over there with them, but he was with them last year. So what would you think? They were very disappointed last year to lose out in the quarter-final, and it was an extra time, wasn't it, against Ballyhide. So what do you think of Crosser?
The player you mentioned there was key, Killian Trent. Key, absolute key to everything Crosser do. Yeah. He's under every puck out, and his athleticism up and down the field is incredible. Yeah. He was one of the main reasons they won, I thought, in 2023. Yes. He was absolutely superb, and Bill Keane, the full back. The couple lads that got in there, and they were the linchpins. I know we had Beans, and Shane Nolan, the lads, all playing.
Yeah, and you Shane.
As good as they could have done all their career. Yeah. But I thought Killian Trent was key. If he's missing, I think Murt, he's an awful loss. I don't know, will they let him play or whatever, but he's a huge loss. But they have talent all over the field. They were mine. I want to call them, it's hard to call former champions only 2 years ago, dark horses, but I would have given him a huge chance. Huge chance. Yeah. If he's in there, huge chance of winning the whole lot.
What about the goalkeeper? He's crucial.
Will Young Murnane come in? I don't know who's sub-goalie match.
He's done a
Caceres maybe. He could do a job, I don't know. But
it's hard to go in there. I don't think goalkeeping, the last time I saw him playing Connacht, he obviously plays with the Stacks. He's Dennis's son. He plays at number 13 or 15 John for the Stacks under 21s, and he's a great player. But I know he got concussed in a recent game. Probably might have been the semi-final.
Well, he actually had to come off against Aberdeen as well in the first half of the County League semi-final.
That's the one,
collision with...
Bad collision.
It's a very bad collision, I have to say. Right?
Was it Michael there,
No, it wasn't. It was...
no, that would be a bad collision.
It was Kevin inside there. It was a fairly bad collision, all right, but ball was there, I suppose. He was unlucky, because I suppose that would have been a big game for him to get experience as well, so it's probably frustrating for Brendan that he didn't get that full game under his belt.
The goalkeeping situation is a serious concern for them. Not saying anything about Donald Caceres. He could turn out to be man of the match.
I think it's I think it's not that
the difference he made.
It's not that you're saying that the replacement is good enough. It's just that what you're losing with Adam is real quality. Like he broke that foot stopping a shot against Aberdeen the week before the County League semi-final up in
Dublin. So he concussed the player. He broke an ankle. What else has he done in Aberdeen?
But that's Adam. Like he put out his foot to stop the shot. I'm fairly sure that's what I heard anyway, was how he managed to break it. So that's what you're losing, is a fella who'll throw himself in front of everything and has great puckouts. A goalkeeper is massively key now with the way the game has gone, especially inside Nassestack Park. Puckouts are crucial. That's the winning and losing of a game.
Yeah. John, what would you rate Crosser? You would know lots of the lads as well from the football scene. Now, Sean McGrath has gone away for a wedding, but he will be back for Sunday, I'm reliably informed. Rory Manny, excellent. He played with Simmons, played under 21 football with North Kerry. So there were a lot of, when you're looking at
I think it's a big season. I think it's a big season.
And only a couple of years ago, in 2023, they won a game, didn't they, in the Munster Club, and only lost because of the
St.
wind.
Catherine's
Really,
beat them
in
Castle Lyons, wasn't it?
Castle Lyons at home.
Up in Mungret.
The keeper of Castle Lyons scored 1-4, a goal
Moncourt,
from a puck out. The wind was so strong.
Up in Moncourt,
because of the Moncourt.
Yeah,
I think Crotta will feel that they didn't do themselves justice in the defence of their title. You know, they had the glory of 2023 and losing the quarter final. No disrespect to Ballyhaig, but they will feel that that was a game that they should be getting over and advancing to the next stage. So I would expect them, especially with Brendan Mahoney staying at the helm as well, I think they'll feel that there's more that they can achieve. And Barry Mahoney, if he's fit, he's home from America for a good while now, but he's been missing games, he's had injuries, he hasn't been playing much football with St. Helens either. So a lot depends, with Killian Trant probably out, if Barry Mahoney can step into that breach as well. It's a big season, I think, for Crotta. I think they have to rebound from a quarter-final defeat, and from their point of view, they probably will feel that they have to go at least one step further than that.
Yeah, and I suppose we look at the third team before we just have a quick run through Sunday's game. Ballyduff, I suppose. Look, Ballyduff, their championship, they have a tradition in it. They're never beaten. But you have to look at what they have lost. Their captain is Jack O'Sullivan. Podge, Padraig Harrington is in charge. Pa O'Connell, they call from Clare. He was the Clare keeper in the 2013 All-Ireland final. He's helping with the coaching, and there's a possibility that maybe Brian O'Connell will be added to the coaching staff, so I'm told. But look, the two Gouldings are gone. Kevin has gone to America. Jack is abroad as well. Kieran O'Callaghan has a hamstring. Anthony Cavan a hamstring. Callum Kerry definitely ACL. He's gone. And Evan Boyle will be away. He's a holiday booked, would you believe? I think it's for the St. Brendan's game. It's one of the games in May he's going to miss. And Evan, like I'd say, the Jap is doing his nut. That his son would book a holiday in the middle of this. But Boyle to miss a championship game. But the young fella, like in fairness, had it done, I suppose maybe he didn't realise.
With the two Gouldens, the biggest part is that it's Kevin who was pretty much the sort of linchpin of the defence, and Jack linchpin of the attack.
Huge.
Like that is two massive pieces of the puzzle to take out. Jack was so influential in the run up to the final in Podge's absence. I know maybe actually they didn't really get himself and Podge working that well together when it did come back together for the final. But to take the two of them out of that team, I think is massive. But look, we know not to write them off. They still have a massive conveyor belt of talent coming through. So
Jake Seagal is in as well. Now, if you look at, they had more into the Kerry team who started least than anybody else. If you start with Kyle O'Connor, he was in. Podge was in, of course. Adam Seagal was in, and he played. Dylan Moriarty was in, and he got the win against Kildare, which got you into trouble. Kevin Goulding, actually,
young Luke Rochford,
and Luke had a goal against Westmeath in the last game there, and didn't look at all out of place on the Kerry team. And he's doing the leaving cert, and he's only and he's about your size as well, and he's only about 18 years of age. So the pocket rocket. So if you're looking at it, Ballyduff, how can you...
Dark horses, you can't call them dark horses.
You can't call them
dark horses.
No. They really are a threat in that group, which is the toughest group.
They're still two very dangerous forwards like Dylan and Luke, If they can, and obviously...
With Podge.
Exactly. And Jack Sullivan, he's been playing very well.
Jack, the captain,
very well. He was, I saw him playing a couple of league games this year.
And you're Aidan O'Connor, play wing forward. He's a fine player. He does a lot of donkey work.
And at the end of the day, we are talking about, they do have a player who has a record that will never, ever be touched in this competition. He's by far and away Podge the top scorer. He has more than double probably what the next guy down has. It's a record that'll never be touched. So providing that Podge is fully fit to go, which he has struggled with over the last couple of years, And it was, I think,
Kerry and he missed the game.
I think he even played probably through injury with Kerry as well this year. In fairness, he deserves great credit for it.
If you're Ballyduff, do you prefer to go into Austinsack Park on Sunday and watch Crotta and St. Brendan's and get a look at your two opponents, or would you want to play on the first weekend?
Jesus, I suppose looking at their setup, maybe do they need time for their injuries to settle?
There's a couple of the lads maybe that need the week. The week might make a big huge difference. With hamstrings, so you never know.
You never know.
So look, Brendan's dark horses we're seeing, but can't rule out. Crossa definitely up there as one of the top 4 teams in the county. Ballyduff in the final last year, can't rule them out. So we'll now go to who do we think will win the game on Sunday? The first game, it's on at 2 o'clock on Sunday, Osterstack Park. You can also watch it live on Clubber. And that's St. Brendan's versus Crossa O'Neill's. Who'd you go for?
Crotta by 2.
Crotta by 2.
By 2.
John
Don't know
O'Dowd.
why 2, but 2.
I think it's a real 50-50 game. I'll just edge it to Crotta by 3.
Crotta by 3. Don't do this to me.
A draw. Wait for draw.
No, to be if of the games, is it the most likely to be a draw? Probably is. Like,
So are you saying a draw?
I would say probably the Barry factor for Crotta.
And Jordan
Just to
Conway,
get them
that
over.
kind of,
Yeah.
that
If Jordan is,
If
yeah,
he's playing, I'll give you
I don't know,
that's
but
it,
I would say even I would say the Barry factor.
yeah, that's it. They're
What will
two.
they
And
win by?
A score, no, a score. Like
Yeah.
whichever you go,
I'll give it
definitely.
to Crotta by 6.
There's club. Like. He's going to
Whatever his club, yeah.
It's the hope that kills me, but and kills everybody. But I give it to him.
They're one of his clubs.
What are the two?
Yeah.
What are the 2 teams going to come out of that group, lads? If Crotta are going to win the first game, so Crotta are one of the teams.
We
Ballyduff for Brendan's.
We bet the 3 up to be potential county finalists.
Yeah.
But we bet the 3 up to be potential winners.
Yeah.
Maybe dark horses, whatever, but you're
And now
talking
one of
three.
them are going to have to go.
One of
Now
them
you're
go.
going to have to be the axeman here. Jimmy's gone. You got to use your axe now or your hatchet.
Okay. To be cruel, to be really cruel, I think it's too early for St. Brendan's.
Right. So
To be
you're
cruel
saying
to him, to be
Crotta
cruel
and
to him.
Ballyduff.
Only on that point. Only on that point.
Do you realise you have to go through that? Of
course, yeah, of course.
Right, okay, John, you were safe enough.
Yeah, I'll probably still just give a slight edge to Ballyduff and Crotta to get through.
Yeah, well, you have
Just an age.
a Tarbert chairman, haven't you, in Ballyduff?
Correct.
No. That's why you're leaning that way. Now let's get a completely neutral view from a man who hates both clubs.
He's in Ballyduff going to go. Wait for
So,
look,
Aidan,
you wouldn't be surprised if either of Ballyduff or Crotta were to be knocked out if for cause and upset. But if to look at it in, the cold hard light of day, like you would have to say Ballyduff and Crotta are favourites to get out of the group.
yeah, strange as it may seem, we'll make it a 4-timer. I'm going Ballyduff and Crotta to go out. I agree with you, yeah.
Jesus.
I think it's just a year too early, probably for St. Brendan's. Having said that, we've all said, and at 12-1 or something, I backed them. We've all said St. Brendan's. St. Brendan's are the dark horses, and I knocked them out in the first round. Although I backed them to win it out. That makes no sense. But then again,
Do as I say, not as I do. Is it?
exactly. Yeah. So that's the and we have decided. You've gone 2 points. You've gone 3.
Small.
You've gone what a score.
At 1 to 3 points.
1 to 3 points, and I've gone
6.
I got 6. Okay, right. Second group, Group 2 or Group B, Kilmoyley, Ballyheigue, and Lixna. Now, lads, we'll have to move on a bit quicker on these. The clock is moving on, and the clock waits for no one. And your clock is right twice a day, and that's about it.
It is, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, Kilmoyley. Listen to this. Their captain is Donald Kennedy. Their manager is Ian Brick. A great time for Ian, actually. Selectors Eddie Flaherty, Sean Mansell, and Patrick Flaherty. Out? No. Tom Moran definitely gone this time. He's gone to Clare Club. Mark O'Connor's in Australia at the last known time, unless he's
Still
getting
there.
a bit of flight. He's still there. Daniel Collins, touch and go with a long-term injury. We know about Daniel. He's been plagued with it. Ronan Walsh has a hamstring. Possibly a chance that he might get the go-ahead. Dougie Fitzell and Conor Fitzell are both kind of on the doubtful list. They both have injuries.
Jesus, Jim, you'll surely get the call up here.
And Ian Brick is hoping that Coleman Savage will be fit to play. Coleman has been out calf, I think, because Coleman's very troublesome over the last 12 months. In is Tom Godley, Dominic Regan, a lot of time for people out there. He's Padraig's son, the Greyhound trainer, Jack Casey, Jevon Kerry, Luke Mansell, and James McCarthy.
All young, bar me.
All young. The average, if you add
I
the
brought
4
the average way
guys,
up.
Dominic Regan, Tom Godley, Jack Casey, and Jevon Kerry, if you add their 4 ages together, you're a year older than the combined age. So tell me what Kilmiley are going to do.
But, you know, we're just too young. We're just too young. I'm always. I'll be honest about Kilmiley. I'll always be honest about Kilmiley. I always call us favourites.
There is no honest man in Kilmiley, right? Except the man who sells the spuds. Coleman Savage's
We're not going to be there this year. We're not going to be there this year because of all the situations.
You don't have a violin, Casey, do you? You don't have a violin, no?
No, Ian has done a great job bringing the young lads and playing them on the county league. Yeah. We got a great start.
And he wrote a great script too as well.
But it's just, I don't see it this year. I just don't see it.
Yeah, right.
Not that that's and just lost. We're in transition. We really are. We really are. Like it's first time for a long time for us.
Hang on a second. Kilmiley in tradition. In transition. He's been there knocking at the door, winning titles with the last 10 years. 20 years, you won a lot of them yourself. And now you're telling me that Kilmiley, because they have a couple of injuries and one lad in Australia, that all of a sudden, were he winning these with 15 players?
There's more than that. There's mileage on the clock. A lot of mileage
on your clock.
Yeah, my clock actually stopped. So the mileage was around the clock. But no, I think it's just. I just think this year's. We need a couple of years to get back. And I think there's players going to go. We're on that kind of. There's players have done an awful lot for us.
Hang on a second.
Through the years.
A man is talking about players going at 35 and 36, and at 50 odd years of age, he's still going himself. Can anyone figure that out?
But that's unique.
Are you unique?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so there we have it. The living legend himself is unique.
But no,
you're playing against the Crokes.
Hope against hope. I hope they do very well. I hope they can pull it out. But we last 3 times Maple League, they've beaten us.
Yeah.
So the odds are stacked against us. For once, I'm kind of playing down Kilmiley. I'm always saying, we're favourites going to win. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. But there's just a lot of injuries, a lot of transition. So I think, it's going to be hard for us. It's going to be hard for us.
Right, I'll take your word for it. But I don't.
I can tell you. It's an honest word.
Tell you that you know that I know that you were lying, and I know that you know that I am not believing one word you say. So we leave it at that. But at the same time, you're in the championship and you have a chance. John, will you restore some sanity to this panel, please? Because that man has upset my.
I just lied for the last 5 minutes.
He just lied through his teeth to me.
Look, Kilmiley are the 26-time winners of the Neelis Flynn Cup, so they don't do transition. So they will be.
I just said
they will be competitive yet again this season, no matter what team they have on the pitch. Right now, if they have Daniel Collins and Ronan Walsh good to go from the start on Sunday, they will have a great chance to get an opening victory. Yeah. Maurice O'Connor is a gigantic loss. I think that is fair to say. Yeah. And he was a big loss to Kerry this year.
Is young Billy playing in the corner?
The fact that he's in Australia at the moment, and I suppose it's important to say at the moment because we don't know, this is the start of the championship this weekend. It's not the conclusion of the championship. So we don't know, some of these teams will lose players right now, but they might gain some players in another 2 or 3 weeks. So let's see what Kilmiley look like first of all on Sunday and how they get on in the opening game.
And they have one of the best championship players in Kerry, in my estimation, in Paddy O'Connor.
Oh,
yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And
one of the best Kerry players this year. One of the best Kerry players this year as well. Excellent.
And plenty of experience as well. Like John B. O'Halloran between the posts is a big calming influence on the whole
I'd like
side.
to see him back with Kerry.
You've good young players as well, James. Dara Nolan and young Corridon there at wing back, and there is good talent still in Kilmiley, but James is right. They can't afford to be without the big name players, the ones that have carried them over the line. Like they did really come very, very close to getting to another county final last year. Like let's not forget that. It took an extra time classic against Ballyduff before they were beating, and there was that wonder catch by Luke Rochford. Other than that, Kilmiley were going to be in another county final.
Another championship, I'd say.
Yeah. But that is the thing. Who knows how Abbey Dorney would have got on against Kilmiley rather than against Ballyduff.
Don't go down that road.
James might be playing it down, but only a fool would write off Kilmiley.
Yeah, well, you've summed him up right with that expression.
The last word.
The last word, that's fine. Very quickly from you, Aidan, I don't want to push you.
No, I think Kilmiley are still pretty much one of the contenders for the championship. No matter how many players they're missing,
What do you call them? The stripes, is
Stripes.
The stripes, yeah.
Stripes, yeah.
Do
you like the stripes or do you despise the stripes?
He's half stripe.
Yeah.
Is he? From the mother side?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
A little known fact. So he never actually loses here. Morning winners, every morning winners.
Bombshell news! Bombshell news!
Thank you.
So look, I think Mossy
stripes,
will be back for the knockout, I would say.
We think so.
I think so.
Yeah. You were friends in
and
Australia.
I think that that turns them from being a very strong championship team into possible winners. Like, you know, that Mossy is a massive difference if you put him in there. The goal threat he has. And
they have
Phil
Jordan
Mansell,
Brick and they have Flower and Donald Kennedy.
I presume Phil Mansell is still
there.
is still going as strong as he was last year. Like Phil probably actually
Played very well.
outshone Mossy in the forward line last year. Scored probably the goal of the championship last year. So another huge player. I a lot of names that Jim decided to leave out from so plenty of players.
He's out to sea and he's forgotten.
And also they have. I think they're after. Obviously they've lost a great manager in John Moyler, a fellow who gave great service to them.
We wish John Moyler well, actually.
And a big change but to bring in someone like Ian Brick, as someone who knows the club,
legend of the club,
backwards, and is a fantastic coach on top of it. I think I fear little for them. Put it that way to you.
Brilliant for the...
and I fear a lot of them, if that makes sense.
You'll claim victory anyway if they beat you because you're half a stripe. Ballyheigue. Now, I don't want you to go on and on how much you love Ballyheigue and their players are right next door to you. And of course, you've never complained about the players that you've taken from them. That should have been years. But how do you rate Ballyheigue? They have Brendan O'Sullivan back again, Jason Casey, Michael Slattery, Michael Lucid. They seem to have the same squad as last year. And okay, Rory Halloran, Ricky Huzzy, Padraig Kenny, young fellas, Adam Totten, they're in, but they really haven't lost anybody to immigration. They had very few bad. Dara Carney and Shane Foran in with the Kerry team. So the likes of Michael Lean, Colin Walsh, all these guys were able to play away with the club. So if they're ever going to make an impression, they can't always be the dark horses. They can't always be a young team coming. Eric Walsh at full forward, the big lad.
Philip Lucid.
Philip Lucid, what a serious team. But they're a serious team. They have to be serious contenders.
You look at the County League. We watched County League final last week. I was over watching it. They were 3 points up. That's when they fell apart. And they only got last 5 scores. Mistakes. When the screw was turned, when the pressure came on, they made the silly mistakes.
Are you saying they're butlers?
No. They're there. There is talent, supreme talent there. Mike Lean is centre back. I think one of the best in the county. I think he's one of the best in the county. And Colin Welsh is absolutely electric. They have great pace. Their whole team has pace and athleticism. They really, really are. But they need to cut out the mistakes. They really need to cut out the
They should have won that match.
Oh, they should have. They were very silly mistakes.
Very kind of
naive.
Abidorny, from 10 years ago.
That's exactly the word.
Kind of a thing,
That's the word.
And a lot of people, a lot of us said that walking out the gate. We know exactly the position that they are in after that game because we've been there. And I think it was the kind of, I won't say cockiness, but I suppose that bit of confidence in the lads to get themselves over the line, having won a bloody championship and won the couple of competitions after that. That's the difference. That was the difference in Causeway on that night. But
experience of winning.
What I will say is, I think they shouldn't read too much into that game at all because
no, they're a good team. They're
the condition, where it was played, and if it was played inside town, they'd have been able to take a lot more out of that.
Different game.
John, you saw that game. You reported that game very quickly. What do you think of Ballyheigue?
I think Ballyheigue have proved, if you took away Abidorny last year, Ballyheigue were the story of the championship. First of all, with the opening day victory over Kilmoyley and then the extra time classic against Crotta in the quarter-final, they probably overachieved potentially last year, but a similar performance this year wouldn't be overachievement. It might be exactly what they expect or what they should be capable of delivering. They're a year further down the road. They know they're a good team now. They have good names in the management front. They have players like you said who didn't spend their time in with Kerry. So the likes of Michael Lean and Colin Walsh, Phelan O'Sullivan, Philip Lucid, Tomas Gaynor. A lot of these guys have been fully focused on club activity. They have to be contenders now. And if we look back in the last 2 seasons, Crotta broke a long famine, followed by Abbeydorney breaking a long famine. 50 years. Could it be 25 this year? Ballyheigh's last title was the year 2000.
Yeah.
Is that an omen? I remember saying this very programme last year that the 50 years could well have been an omen for Abbeydorney. So I'm just going to put it out there as a motivating factor for Ballyheigue to 25 years to end their famine. And I don't think it can be totally ruled out.
You drink too much tea. You have all.
He's awake all night thinking about these things.
All he has.
That is correct.
Think about them. That you like Jack O'Connor. Those fish oaks, they don't.
He pulled it out of the fire.
He pulled that out the fire there. One last thing. The 25 years. And if they win it, he'll claim that it's an original after I tell him that about 2-3 weeks ago.
But the centenary team is out in the county final as well, thinking that way.
It is.
So you have to really, and Brendan is one of those lads, and all the lads on the management are those lads.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's another little incentive, we'll call it.
Yeah. Now, the great unknown to me this year is Lixna.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to read them because of the injuries, and in particular to one individual, one of the finest hurlers in the county or the county has ever produced, along with a number of others, including a man from your own club, Shane Brick. I always think Shane
in the club for us, definitely one of the best ever to come out of county.
In the club,
I put it on note now.
100%.
One of the best ever.
Well, I thought you, for your ruggedness, was slightly ahead of me.
Keep that to ourselves now.
He was just taking the freeze.
Yeah. One of the best ever.
Shane Brick was taking the freeze, etc., and you were doing the skullduggery. But anyway, Lixna, their captain is Ricky Heffernan. James Flaherty is their manager now. Selectors Mike Keller, good lad, his son is playing. Mike Conway, of course, and Maurice Carden. Now, look at their outs. Conor O'Keefe is in the USA, definitely. We know. We checked the embassy, in a US embassy today, so he's there. John Buckley, I checked the Australian embassy. He's in Australia. Reggie Gallivan has retired to managing Finook. Right? Referees are happy. Then the $1 million question, will Shane Conway be fit?
Huge.
The chairman reckons that it's not yet, they don't know until closer to the game, and also that probably, even if he does play, will he last the pace? He didn't play any championship. Joe McDonough with Kerry last year, didn't play any this year, played a league and a half game this year with Kerry, and played a league game last year with Meath, which kept us up in the division or whatever it was. So therefore, I think it hinges in Michael Keller, who was away last year, is back. Gavin O'Keefe, Aidan Manning. Ivan Conway is a good lad coming up. He's a Conway, and that's enough to say about him. So, what
they will be delighted to have no game this weekend.
Look, I'll tell you now. Yeah.
Shane, right, we'll start you with Lixna because you don't like that club either.
Shane will be playing. He will be starting. He will play every minute that Lixna will play in Championship this year.
Will he?
That's a fact.
He'll have to.
Absolutely.
What about if he can only wear one boot?
He's just standing in the corner.
He will be fine. He will play for Lixna. Yeah. And he'll play every minute that they
allow. He nearly beat you in his own.
As you said, he's a Conway.
Only they were 25 points down.
And Dara is also a massive factor for them in the other end of the pitch.
He will be.
Or wherever Shane plays. Maybe if there is an injury worry, Shane will be inside. He played centre-back against Abbeydorney in the North Kerry Championship final last year under lights in Nassau Park. Whatever that was, I don't know why or how or who came up with that plan. Yeah. But he will probably play inside if there is the injury worry.
Yeah.
And Dara will be out in half-back line, I imagine. And Ricky Heffernan, was brilliant last year, so if you're expecting the same levels out of him again this year. I think they are definitely a team that you can ignore at your peril, because they will come back to bite you. If you don't pay attention to them,
and they won the final 2 years ago.
Exactly. So they are definitely, are they the outsider to get out of that group? You have to say yes, because you feel like Kilmyle and Ballyheigue would be further ahead of them, but that's music to their ears, so they're still going to be very dangerous.
And they're definitely one of the teams that are totally coming in under the radar.
Oh, yeah.
There's absolutely no talk about Lixna. Bad league, worries over Shane Conway, fellas away, but they'll be quietly preparing. You know James Flaherty, and Michael Conway and the boys there, Lixna, true and true. They have good players like Dara Shannon was on the Kerry team all season. You have Jeremy McKenna in there. Owen Stack is a decent forward. The McGilligans, Colin Sheehy. There's a lot of good players there. Yeah. And like, go back to that game against Aberdeen. Okay, it was just really a Michael O'Leary tour de force in the first half.
Yeah.
But the second half, Licks now were miles the better team and had Aberdeen worried for a spell.
Well, yeah, I think Aberdeen didn't deal with the substitution at the second half. They left a load of space in front of Shane Conway. So if that situation happens and Shane is inside with a lot of space, he's going to do serious damage.
There wasn't much between them and Ballyduff in the quarter-final last year either.
Really
No. So how do we think the Kilmiley-Ballyheigue game will go on Sunday? It's 4:00. At Austin Park, if you can make it, it's live on Clubber, and I'm not too sure is it Aidan or John that's doing it or the two of them, but they'll be there, so you'll be listening to them, and you can mute the television and actually watch the game yourself if you want to.
Piece of your own home.
And just a piece unearth them in of goodwill. Kilmiley and Ballyheigue, we need a prediction from you. Now, don't mind on bail booked. Don't mind the mouth. Give it to us there.
Straight. Give it to you straight. Yeah. No. I see Ballyheigue win it by a very narrow margin. But I still see Kilmiley getting out of the group.
Yeah, so
that
kind of gets you home again.
That's kind of bad. I can go up the road again.
You can go up the road again. You can go through, No. So you're basically saying Ballyheigue to win by, say,
I think Ballyheigue are the strongest team in the group. They're the strongest team in the group.
By 2 points.
It could be just that close. It could be less. It could be just one. It could be so close.
Right.
It will be so close.
We have to keep you to 1 point. John?
Again, like Crofton St. Brendan's, very, very hard game to call. But believing James's words, and James would never lie to us on this podcast. I will give the nod to Ballyheigue by 2 or 3 points.
Right, Aidan.
Yeah, will I probably have a 5 on the draw? Yes, I will. But I don't
encourage gambling on the show, by the way. And if you gamble,
don't take any tips from us.
I can't see Kilmiley letting Ballyheigue beat them for a second year in a row. I cannot see Kilmiley letting Ballyheigue beat them for a second year in a row in championship.
Yeah, but should have half the team, half the parish in Australia, and the other half the parish are injured.
I think Ian Brick will have them ready to go, stoked up, and I think they'll give a big performance, and I think they'll beat them.
Yeah, so you a narrow margin, I suppose.
Oh yeah, Jesus, I can't see it being like there'll be no. I don't see any of these games really being big scorelines, because and I wouldn't be surprised if actually a lot of the games were quite low scoring, because there'll be a bit of tension, I think, in all the first games.
So you're going to by
I think they might be in by 3 or 4 points.
3 or 4 points. We'll say 3 for you're going for Kilmiley. I'm going for Kilmiley as well to beat Ballyheigue by a single point, scored in the final minute. Right,
James McCarthy off the bench
by James McCarthy.
I think we should cut the program right there now. Stop now and go home. I think that's he's lost his mind.
No, James McCarthy hadn't been introduced as a wild card
down from the terrace,
because he was shouting so much to the players. 4 of the players walked off the pitch, and he walked on and scored the winning point.
They're cordoning off a whole section for him this year in terrace, so he can move up and down freely.
Actually, in truth, I think it's so tight. I'm going to call a draw on this one.
There we go now.
I'm going to call a draw on this one because the Ballyheigue people don't like me, and I have to win back some favour with them. No, they don't. So I'm going for a draw. You're going for 2 or 3 point win. We'll say for Ballyheigue and for Kilmiley, and 2 Ballyheigue men here narrowly by a point or 2. Okay, who's going to come out the group, lads? I'm going to nail my colours to the mast. I think it's going to be Kilmiley and Ballyheigue.
I agree.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed. We won't be wasting time.
And again, Lixnell will be delighted to hear that.
Then it'll probably come on and win the county championship. This will go, Right, on out to the final group, and this is going to be the easiest group. It won't take us long. We have a minute and 10 seconds.
To talk about the remaining champions.
We left Aberdeen till last.
We left Aberdeen till last.
Cut him out.
Aberdeen, who are opening the championship on Friday night, 7:30, Austin Park. Again, if you can make it because of traffic, or you have to milk the cows like James has for his neighbour. It's Aberdeen versus Causeway. First game. And it's 7:30 in the Austin Stack Park. John, I'll start with you and take it away from the 2 messers on either side of you. Aberdeen, they have basically the same setup. James O'Connor, Mike O'Leary, joint captains. Francie's in there, Niall O'Connell, Brian O'Donovan, Bino. Out, Kieran Deneen is retired. Great servant to the club, in fairness to Kieran. Always has been.
Massive.
Tomas O'Hanafine in college. What's that about?
I just, as far as I know, he's just not part of the panelists here for whatever reason.
He's not part because he's playing football in Gale, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think he is. He played last weekend. In is Kevin Varian. Can you tell us where he's from?
He's from Cork. I'm not going to guess the club because I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was actually, he kind of trained for the whole of last year, just the transfer didn't get done.
Yeah.
And
Rory O'Hanafine, that'd be Rory.
He is Tomas's younger brother.
He's
played well in the County League final.
Brilliant player, yeah.
And Luke Fitzmarston is a
young fella, yeah. Good young forward, yeah.
John, look, the champions, they're in a group where you have 3 Parnells who are playing really to, keep hurling alive in the town, to improve every year they play. Hopefully they'll be hoping to get a win, maybe a championship win, but they are realistic enough from talking to Martin Downs to realise that, they're picking for 4 clubs, mainly football clubs, Ballymac and Mitchells and the Gale and the lad from Stacks. That's Andrew, your own man, it's Andrew Morrissey. So, you're looking at it realistically that the big guns here, Abbeydorney and Causeway. Abbeydorney, the champions, they have the 4 trophies now that are to be won. They're in the crest of a wave. They had very few in with Kerry, Rashid Mansell, who now is injured, might make the weekend. But the rest of the lads, for different reasons, whatever, we won't go into it.
They've just been totally caught by the winning bug at the moment, Murt.
Yeah.
Winning the Neelis Flynn after 50 years, it took more than the monkey off the back. It took an absolute weight off their shoulders, and they just went on. They didn't rest on their laurels. They represented Kerry well in Munster. They won North Kerry League. They won North Kerry Championship afterwards. They've gone on to win the County League 2 weeks ago, and the lads were there as well. Abbeydorney didn't play well 2 weeks ago, but they knew how to grind out the result in the closing stages when maybe a little bit of stage fright got to Ballyhigh, got the thought of toppling the county champions. It's in the head now, Abbeydorney. And when you have James O'Connor at one end of the pitch and Michael O'Leary at the other end of the pitch, you're always going to have a chance. The thing that impressed me most probably the last day, apart from the young lads, there was Damien Hogan, Rory O'Hanafine, Darragh O'Connell, the young lads had come into the team. The big thing what I thought was Michael Slattery looked very, very sharp.
Player.
He was only able to be a bit part player last year for Abbeydorney with all his injuries. He is like a wrecking machine inside that full forward line if he gets the supply of ball and he's in good nick. And if you get Oisin Mansell in with him and David Egan feeding off them at a later stage in the competition with Michael O'Leary supplying the bullets from out the field, that's going to be a really hard full forward line to shut down for any opposition. Yeah. Abbeydorney are probably looking at it now. Let's make hay while the sun shines. Let's get as much as we can right now
Sunday, by the way.
out of this.
Friday, so that's great.
Out of this group of players while we have them. Let's try and just win as much as we can.
Absolutely, that is it. It kind of feels like this year really actually probably is that time period, because you never know after kind of cycle like this at the end of this year, fellas might want to go away. The big transition period, like what's going on in Kilmiley. Fellas might want to go away, But it is very much, this is kind of the period now. But it is the period now for Abbeydorney to try and, this is the greatest chance they'll ever have of doing back-to-back championships. It's probably the first time ever that Abbeydorney have gone into championship with a genuine chance of actually winning the championship. And it is something very new for the lads to deal with, and they've been dealing brilliantly with it, and their record has been fantastic. It's really only the loss against Cashel that in the last year that's there. And we haven't mentioned him. I think we have to give Francis O'Halloran massive credit for turning Abbeydorney into a winning machine. They haven't played well since the North Kerry.
It's been busy.
Championship final against Sixteen. That was the last time they actually probably played pleasingly well to the eye. If that makes sense. It's been grinding out results.
Francie was saying to me that the fact that he have no injuries and no immigration. He says nobody wants to leave Aidan Leahy and the complex.
Well,
when Aidan is sitting on top of a beer barrel and he's drinking a pint and he's spinning yarns about how good his team was and how he is unpopular in Kildare and Waterford, etc. He said, none of the lads.
Well, we have actually, you missed an out actually in your outs because Keith O'Connor has immigrated to Australia. So
you have one.
Yeah, we do have an immigration there.
And Jack Sheehan would be a big injury doubt as well for this weekend, along with O'Sheen.
Jack O'Sheen, not sure on what way they are. I would be surprised to see O'Sheen unless he's needed.
He's a
Jack will probably hope to get minutes just to probably get a bit of rhythm going, because he's missed a few weeks. But
when O'Sheen is playing, you don't see Michael Slattery in. It's just so weird. It's like Michael Slattery came out with full forward last day. You could have thought, right, you're looking at O'Sheen. Yeah. He was that effective. Yeah. He really was that good. So how do you mix the two of them into the one?
You could possibly play Michael Slattery at full back.
Do you know anything about hurling?
Well,
you'd have to it's kind of you wonder where can you fit him in?
If anyone was ever going to I do actually see O'Sheen throughout his career coming back to be that
further, as a centre back, maybe as a centre back.
Yeah,
but I think it's absolutely it'll be probably quarterfinals or semi-final depending on how the group goes before we see it. But we will see Michael and O'Sheen inside together.
Yeah, that's good. Now let's talk about Causeway. Causeway, of all the teams in it, you can't write them off, but they really have been hit by, as I said, immigration and injuries. Evan Murphy is transferred to the Piercing in Cork with his brother Brian. Dan Goggin is definitely in Australia. Tommy Casey is in the US as well, The Undertaker. Joe Diggins and Jarleen, we saw them winning a New York Championship.
But are they out?
I was told they were out. By John Joe Delaney, the chairman.
And you believed
him?
No, that's like William James McCarthy. How do we know you now?
That's what I said at the start. They lied to me. I know they're lying to me, and they know that I know they're lying to me. So what can I do? I'm just telling you what they told me. Maurice Delaney, doubtful. Jason Diggins, he's rehabbing as well. Maybe fit enough. Maybe not to start this game, but definitely second game and in the playoffs if they can beat Parnells, which you'd expect them to do. Tommy Barrett is another man who seems to be out. In is Cormac Patterson. I have no idea who he is. And Ryan Healy, they must be young fellas. And he said, look, we're ravaged by injuries and immigration. We're a team in transition. Where did I hear that before? And that's the reality.
We're neighbours.
So, look.
One team is genuinely in transition to the
John Joe, they're in transition. John Joe Keith Cameron does by the still on. John Joe Canty said that I wasn't on to John Joe Canty, but I heard them on the radio saying, they're going to give it their best shot. They don't know how they're situated until they go out and play. So, what do you think, Causeway?
I think they'll hold their powder dry this weekend against Aberdeen. They might just go in, play the game, target the Parnells game, get out of the group.
That's get the lads fit.
Then they'll be a dangerous prospect. They'll be dangerous quarter-finalists to meet. They'll be dangerous to meet down the line.
If they met Kilmiley,
they'd be very dangerous to meet down the line.
Three Parnells have beaten Causeway this year already, in the county league. So
that's another point.
And that's the thing. that Tralee Parnells team is less and less and less becoming a team that you kind of look at and say, look, we'll take our 10-point win in that. So they.
But Maloney last year, I think he was wing back last year. He's in the US. He's a huge loss to them. The number 7. He was going forward. He was playing very well. And of course, Brian Lonigan is in Australia. Brian was he's the Ballymac footballer.
Gavin Dooley is a big plus for Causeway. To have Gavin back, if Brandon Barrett, he's been plagued as well by injuries. If Brandon is fit, and
some few minutes.
Parnells have Darreen back to the Gael for Rory O'Sullivan. They're two good hurlers, right? And they have Dan Maloney back, and Will Summers is back in. So
Tralee Parnells do expect to be stronger than they were last year, because remember when they came into the competition last year, they had 5 or 6 of their regular team over in America, which is not the case.
Which is not the case for the whole year. They had everyone out this year,
And Pip is out of goals this year, isn't he?
Did they let him out?
Apparently he's out the field.
Pip played sweeper against Aberdeen in the County League, and he had a fair game. Jesus, he had a whale of a game.
You've actually seen that on here.
WhatsApped me before.
He was wasted in goals.
Yeah, when I put up the tweet about this Kingdom Calls coming back, he was one of the first that came along and said, "Oh, I love it. You know, I best of luck with it, etc." And in the first program, we absolutely dished every chance and every bit of skill and talent.
Whatever can tune in.
To go back to
we don't want to lose you as a viewer, but it's just the boys were saying to me that it's a good job you're out of goals. No, they weren't. So right, lads.
To go back to Causeway though, like they still, I think their mentality is still there. I just thinking on it and actually thinking about Aberdeen the way they are this year, like looking at bits of training that they're doing, like Francie's obviously, and the way he's named teams in County League games, tried to keep everything fresh. Like even the second year is difficult. You know, you can get stuck in the bit of a rut of, you know, the sameness of last year.
Yeah.
Stephen Goggin was there for what, like 8 years, 7 years. Like, you know, John Myler obviously with Kilmoyler for years and years and years. They deserve so much credit for keeping that going for so long. Yeah, and I think that belief that Stephen Goggin, the mentality he instilled in them, is still going to be there. And they'll still be in the fight. Absolutely.
Yeah. We've got to stop the fun. We're about 15 minutes over what we intended, but we're still, I think, just under the hour now. But it's actually the biggest one because of the preview of the whole thing. So who's going to come out of this group? Aberdeen's one, I presume. Everybody agrees Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Right. Is it panelists or Causeway?
It's Causeway.
Yeah,
it's Causeway.
And it's not
you would say so.
I know, it's
tough. I think panels will go and they'll give it a grace.
I think panels will go close because it's surprised with somebody. I'd be hoping they'd beat Aberdeen, but they probably won't.
I think it's fantastic as well. I think it's a good point to say that it's great that Tralee Parnells are in the championship and looking forward to their second season. And remember, like they on opening night this time last year, they really nearly did beat Lixnaw. It wasn't a fluke performance or nothing like that. No, it was 16 points to 14, and that performance alone showed that they deserved to be. And with Dr. Croak's gone back to intermediate, I think it's really important that Parnells are there.
To have it in the town and have the under-14s and the 16s and the minors coming through, it is so important that there is hurling in Tralee.
And maybe going forward, James, it'd be nice to have that combined South Kerry team with Dr. Croak's and Rathmore and Kilmare and Kilgarvan, maybe.
I think it has to. You need that back.
You need that because every club should be playing hurling. Even the president said at the North Kerry centenary dinner, Jarlath Burns was down, and he said his aim was, and he said he wanted to be put in some rule book or whatever, or in that by the end of his term, that every football team must have a hurling team. No, not a senior team or a team.
Some level.
But I think Murt, every Kerry senior footballer, even if he's at a junior club, he has the opportunity to play county championship football because he plays with his divisional teams. It's really disappointing that the likes of Tom Doyle and Luke Crowley are able to start. Daniel Casey from Kilgarvan. They're able to start on the Kerry senior hurling team, and we won't see them in the Kerry senior hurling championship.
Yeah. And
we won't see them in the intermediate championship either.
Right. So we have the game on Sunday between Aberdeen and Causeway. We didn't get a margin
Friday
night. The margin there, I think, are we all on Aberdeen beating Causeway?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am anyway,
But not as much as you think. Not as much as you think. I don't think. Not as much as you think.
4 points?
4 or 5 points, that's all.
I'm going to say 7.
I would say the 4 or 5 as well, yeah.
Very close. If Jason Dickens is playing, the whole game changes to me.
Yeah.
The whole complexion of the game changes.
I think they will. I think Morris and Jason.
I think they will too.
I know Morris, I think, has found it a bit harder to get back to Jason, but I think Jason will be.
A fantastic player. And they need him back with Evan Murphy gone.
When they last won the championship, he was the best player of the whole championship, centre back.
4 or 5 points. Right, okay, our final act has to be, we'll do this after every round because we know what's going to happen. The ultimate winner of the championship, as you see it now, sitting here in transition after your holiday in the sun, as the rain teams down outside. And Kelms O'Reilly's would like to thank them again for their wonderful facility.
Happy birthday, Murt.
Oh, my happy birthday up behind me, yeah.
Only 70.
Only 70, yeah. I'm a young 70, to be honest. James, who would you think at the end of the day might be anybody who wants to pipe in who thinks, well, James is thinking a lie? John O'Dowd, who would you think now, if you were to put down, if your life depended on it, which it doesn't, thankfully.
I think Aberdeen have to be considered favourites at this moment in time to win back-to-back championships.
It's the first time this evening or in 2 months that I've agreed with you.
If I'm going to go for someone outside of Aberdeen, I will say Ballyhaig.
All right.
Is that all I'm going to say? All right. Just all right.
Like I said, the anniversary, the 25-year anniversary. Don't rule it out.
Push that right.
Aidan, obviously, you want and wish and hope that Aberdeen can do it. If they don't do it, who?
I would say one of Crotta and Kilmiley.
One of Crotta and Kilmiley.
Yeah.
You're still half a stripe. What about you?
Hey, look, I'm saying Aberdeen to win it, but I put a but on that because I know what back-to-back is.
Yeah.
Back-to-back is hard.
Yeah.
Because now with all the championships they've won, never done a back-to-back.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very hard to do back-to-back.
It's only been done once, I'd say, in the last 15 years.
No.
Kilmiley have only...
Kilmiley did it 2021, 15, 16.
Okay, 10 years, so.
Or whatever,
Last
10. No, they did
once in the last 10 years, so.
It's rare.
But nobody has done it. It's rare.
It's very rare.
Nobody has done it, I'd say.
We did it 15, 16.
Since 2016.
And 2021 we did it. 2021.
What, 2021?
Yeah.
Oh, but I was doing COVID. That doesn't count.
We last one in all semi-finals to Kilmiley. That doesn't count
Take your
either.
asterisks down, shove it.
You have to lie to me for a whole hour.
Hang on.
Right.
That was a knockout championship as well.
Exactly.
That's fucking...
And everybody, because this will be played back at the Aberdeen Social if they actually win again this year, like some of my comments last year. But I will say my two right now for the county championship final, providing they don't meet, would be Aberdeen and Crotta O'Neill's.
And that would be
your clubs. I agree.
By the way, that would be an absolute awesome spectacle.
Oh, yeah,
it would be unbelievable. It would be.
Be careful to wish for.
It would be an unbelievable spectacle.
Careful.
Okay, that has been a very interesting discussion, and we've gone through the teams. We've told you now. As I said, the names that I mentioned that were out were names that were given to me by club officials. The boys on the ground would know a little bit different, so I think the truth is probably somewhere in between as regards who'll turn up. But we'll know at the weekend and the Senior Hurling Championship. Excited, definitely, that it's coming around. Everybody is, because as we were saying there with the games, although we took a certain view on them, a point or two. There was very few that we thought would be 5, 6, 7, 8. Non-event kind of thing, not going to happen. That's just the nature of the Kerry Senior Hurling Championship. People come from all over the country to see it, and we wish all the teams, managements, etc. best of luck, and we'll be keeping an eye on you each week and reviewing it. And if you can't make the games, we'd like you to come to Austinsack Park, create an atmosphere. But if you can't, the games will be live on Clubber. John, on Friday night, it's Aberdeen and Causeway, and that's 7:30. On Sunday at 2, it's Kilmiley and Ballyhaig.
No, we're 4.
At 4, sorry. I knew
St. Brendan's and Crotta at 2.
Johnny Brett. You see, the little guy who's hated in Kildare is getting so much pleasure out of that error.
Mistakes, he's written all down. They're all written down.
He is actually chairman of my mistakes committee. Do you know that? So those games, they're available on Clubber and you can watch them. So if you have any comments, let us know on what we've discussed, any preferences of your own. We wish all the teams the best of luck. And again, thanks to James for his honesty, for John O'Dowd as well for his contribution, and of course Aidan for the knowledge that he has, local knowledge, and being a representative of the champions, which he hopes obviously will post back to back. And right now, they're not looking bad at all. So that's it. John C. O'Shea was the timekeeper. He failed miserably.
-7 at the minute.
He was, and at 15 after that. He was brilliant with the football. He kept us in charge. We were such as fairly spot on.
We'll have to bring in the hooter. The hooter for next week.
For next week.
So for next week's episode, I think the hooter, which everybody will hear, and when the ball goes out of play the next time, then the show.
You're allowed to finish your last sentence.
Yes, which I could make 100, 200 words. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. We hope you'll enjoy it, and we'll be back again next week from Murt, from James, from John, from Aidan, and our producer and cameraman and everything that goes on behind the scenes, JC O'Shea. It's bye for now.